Hi guys, this is Shane from AF Kustoms, and today we're going to install our new manual stand on 2000 to 2017 softails. Okay, when you receive your kit, it's going to look like this. It's going to be packaged with all the parts necessary to install the stand. All the hardware, stackable shims, end caps, bolts, everything you need. Here I have the 3/8 mounting bolts for two different exhausts. Samson exhaust and Bassani exhaust. They'll take two different sizes. Those are the most popular brands that I can figure out. So that's one set of the hardware, which will go in this taper headed deal, and the other set is this deal right here with these studs. And these studs are the same thing here. There's a set for Samson exhaust, and there's a set for Bassani exhaust, and then these are the heads that will go on. We'll later show those in install. This is the billet handle. That's the hardware to mount the billet handle right there. Two sets of stackable shims, the hardware for those, the bolts to mount the legs, each leg, each main body, each leg, each beauty washer, and then in this kit there's the end caps for that. So this is the total kit that you'll be receiving. So let's get started. All right, when you get your package opened, these legs are going to be stacked on just like those over there. So you're going to pull these off. And then this deal here is just a packaging fixture, so that way we can package them nicely. So you're just gonna, these are just pinned in there. You're just gonna pull them off, and then these little pieces right here, you're just gonna pull off. I think you could even just yank them off just like that. Pull them off, and then on the back side, turn this around, and then I just grab a pair of pliers or something and push them through. So once that's off, these little pieces, you can just throw them in the trash. They're done. They're just fixtures. Now you have both of your parts separated, and now you can install them on the bike. Okay, so the tools you'll be needing is a Allen wrench set and a 9/16 deep socket. Allen wrenches are 732, 3/16, 532, and a 7/64. I got everything laid out to put on the right side of the bike. I'm running Samson exhaust on this bike, so I got the stud and the bolt according to what I need for to go through the main housing and the fishtail mounting bracket. Also, this is a little 3D printed cable retainer, and it's going to go on this bolt right here on the transmission. When the line comes up, this will hold the cable up tight next to the bike. All right, so the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put a dab of red Loctite on the stud after you figured out which one you're going to use, and then you're going to thread this piece all the way down until it seats up against the shoulder of the stud. And you might want to wait a little bit, let that kind of set up, and then you can install it once they're set up a little bit. Okay, now we're ready to install the right side, and the part number is on the back, and it says at the very end, well, it's upside down. At the very end, it'll have an R right there, and then on the other side, the left side will be an L. So it's going to get mounted just like this on those two bolts. The rear stud is going to go in there, and the front stud's going to go in there. So we'll put the exhaust brackets on now and get this thing mounted up. Okay, now you're going to want to add your blue Loctite to both of these studs when you go to mount this to your frame. So we're going to stick that bolt through there, the stud, and then we're going to put the taper headed in there. And then we're going to get our exhaust mount. That's going to slide through there. And then we're going to take the 7/32 Allen, run that up in there. And then get this stud started. All right, so now you're going to grab the 9/16 deep socket. You're going to run that in. While I'm running this in, just want to let you guys know you didn't see me put the blue Loctite on here because I'm not going to run the stand on this bike. This is just for demonstration only. So I ran that up, and I'm going to snug this one up. So now that is on the bike. Cable's going to run up there, so I'm going to kind of get this thing started. Okay, so the next step, before you get the leg and put the leg on, you're going to want to make sure that this thing didn't get kind of out of place. It needs to be a little bit concentric, this inside circle to the stud here, because that kind of centers up the leg and stuff. So you might need to kind of pull this around. It's a little bit of a challenge to get the bolts in because it's snug around the stud here, so you might have to jimmy it around a little bit to get the leg on, but it's not so bad. So next you're going to take the 6 supplied number 632 by 3/8 Allen screws with a 7/64 Allen. You're going to do your best to line up, put the leg on, and then line up one of the bolts. And then also you're going to want a blue Loctite on these as well, so nothing comes apart. So I'm going to lightly get one started, and then I'm going to get the top one in so that they're lined. And then the last one, blue Loctite. Okay, so that's done. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the beauty washer on with the outside retaining bolt, and that's going to utilize the 532 Allen. And then also you're going to everything we're going to do is going to have blue Loctite on it. So blue Loctite on this little stud, run that in there, tighten that up. So when this thing is snugged up, this leg should move just like that. It should snap right back. If it doesn't snap back, then there's something going on in here, and we need to look at that, because this thing needs to be very smooth to snap back into place when the bike comes up. All right, I got this bolt backed out of here. I'm going to slide the cable retainer clip on, and then I'm going to spread it open a little bit. It spreads open, you know, however much you need it to get the cable in there. So I'm going to run that down. Keeping that lined up. And I'm not going to tighten this thing fully tight because I might have to adjust this once I get the handle on and all that stuff. So we're going to leave that just like that for now, and then we're going to move to the other side. Okay, really quick overview. Stand is on, cable runs up, goes through the cable restraint, and then it's kind of really particular where these need to go, these cables. So it passes under the oil tank next to the starter, and then on the other side I'm going to show you where the cable goes. Okay, so now you can see it on the other opposite side. It travels underneath the oil tank, is going to go right in front of, this is the coil, it's going to go right in front of the coil bracket, and then it's going to end up, this is the back on the rocker box. The back two bolts are where the handle's going to mount right there. So this cable has to be like right there. That will slide into the handle. So that's a little quick overview how the cable needs to run, because if you don't get it ran right, it won't be long enough, and it'll jam the stand up and all that good stuff. So we want to get that, make sure that we got that in the right area. Alright, so now we're here on the left side getting ready to install the left side leg setup, and here's all my parts ready to go, so we'll get started. Okay, to start off first, you're going to get your stud. You're going to give it a drop of red Loctite. You're going to screw your nut on till it shoulders up against the shoulder. So that's ready to go. And then you're going to grab your mount or whatever you got between the center stand leg and your pipe mount. Going to grab the main body. Slide your bolts in. Get those started. Then again, blue Loctite on both those so they don't wiggle loose. Run that one in. Run that one in. Nine 9/16 deep socket. Run that one up. And again, when you go to, before you put your leg on, you're going to want to straighten up the little cam here. Make sure it's fairly straight so you can get your leg on easy. Okay, now we're going to grab our leg, our three 632 Allens, and Loctite, blue Loctite on these as well. I'm not doing it on here because it's not going to stay on here again. So I've lined that up as best I could concentrically around here to make sure that the leg bolt holes line up. So you're going to stick that on there. You're going to eyeball the first hole. Tries. Just be cautious because the bolts are small and the piece back there is aluminum, and we don't want to ruin anything. Okay, I think we're lined up now. Okay, we got all our three bolts in. Blue Loctite on all of those. We're going to stick our beauty washer on. Blue Loctite on that as well. You're going to use the 532 Allen. And then you're going to run that in there to cover up those bolts. Again, you want to make sure that this thing is nice and it snaps back on its own, and then that part's done. Okay, now we're going to be routing the left side cable through the back side of the primary and above the frame. What I did was I made a wire that has a hook on the end of it, a little tight loop, and then I bent it 90 so it could grab the end of the cable here. Grab the cable like that so you could pull it through. It's really tight on the back side of the primary. Okay, on top of the primary here where the shifter lever is at, there's a little tiny hole. I don't know if we can, there it is, right through there. So you're gonna drop that wire through that hole and bring it up on through. you're going to want the wire to go above the frame rail. You can see my hand here, the wire's on the, comes up over the top of the... Okay, see right here, there's a little kind of crevice right here between the two castings. That's kind of, there's a little hole right down below there. That's where you want to be, because then the cable can go right there in this little slot. And if you go forward a little bit, it pinches off up here, and like somewhere like right in here, this area pinches off, and the cable comes out from this area, and then it's kind of like a big old loop, and it'll kind of show more. So if you can get it, I don't know if I can get this in there. There's a little hole straight right down through there. I know it's blurry, but that's where you want to be. Top of the frame rail, and then you're going to grab your cable and hook it on, hold it so it doesn't come off, and then pull on through. Two critical things: when this cable is running through there, it runs right through the belt, by the belt, so you want to make sure that it's above the frame rail so it doesn't drop or get pinched like on the ground, but where it clears the pulley and the belt. And then on the top, you're going to want it to run like right in front of the shifter lever. I'm going to pull it up tight. Okay, right there. And then we're going to stick it behind the coil with the other one and pull it up top. Okay, you can see where the cable's at. It's in that slot. I got it routed right through that little tiny hole, and it's right in front of the shifter lever. Then on this left side, when you get it in place, you're going to want to zip tie it to the vertical tube here, so that it keeps tight and it's out of the way of the shifter, and it'll be nice and tucked away that way. Okay, so here's the handle. It comes like this, comes all assembled. When it goes on the rocker boxes, I've already took the two bolts out of the rocker box. It sets just like this, right in those cavities, and then you can see how the cables go in right and left. So what I like to do is I like to keep this cable on the right side and that cable on the left side. So we'll get to installing those, and we'll get this thing bolted down, and we're getting pretty close to finishing up this install, but we'll set up the legs and adjust the cables accordingly. Okay, so we're going to put the left side in first. On this piece here, the cables, both cables have to go through this one hole. So you'll have to put this side in first, and then the last one on this side. So we're going to start with the left side of the bike, which is this cable here. And you're going to slide that in the hole. Kind of got to manipulate the lever so that it goes around there. Bring the lever back up, and then this might help if you have somebody hold, if you hold the legs in the down position, it'll lengthen the cable. So you may need somebody to help you hold that down, but I'm just going to try to do it here. Let me get that. No. There you go. Snapped it right into place. So that one's on now, and now we'll do this one. Okay, that's into place. So now we can take our supplied hardware, just double check and make sure the route of these cables are good. Okay, supplied hardware, 5/16 by 1.5 inches. Now this bike is already taken apart, so it makes this really easy, but I installed one of these on a bike that was all together. So what I did was I took the back mount bolt out of the mount of the back of the tank, and I raised the tank up and shoved a little piece of material in there to keep their sock or whatever towel, keep this up so you can get in here and take these bolts off. It would be a lot easier if you did take the tank off to get this thing installed, but you can do it with the tank being propped up. So again, you're going to Loctite those. You're going to use Harley spec to torque those down, and we're getting real close to having this thing installed. So just want to reiterate that when this thing is kind of put together, you're going to want to zip tie these cables to the center pole here, or center tube here, to keep them nice and taut and out of the way. Okay, so now it's basically installed. You can manually grab the handle and pull it and watch the legs work. These are threaded adjusters for setting the cable length. Right now they have a bunch of slop in them. When we ship them, they'll be all the way screwed in, so it'll give the cable the longest length. So when you guys go to set these up, you'll want to pull some of that slack out. You want to leave a little bit, less than this, probably like a 16th or somewhere in there, I think, about a 16th-ish, and you'll run the jam nut up, tighten that up, and then that'll take all the slack out of the handle, and it'll allow the stand to go deploy all the way out, and it should come out past 90, like 10 degrees. So then we'll come on to the other side. I think I already did this one. So this one's already adjusted out a little bit, kind of where we want it. A little bit of play in there. You don't want to have it totally taut, because what happens is, and I'll show you, is when you roll it out, the leg starts to pull down. See? So you want the leg to come all the way back up when it's when the bike is up. So we want to leave just a tiny bit of play in there, in that cable there. You guys can see just a little bit of play, and then again run that jam nut up and tighten that one up. So now the stand with the working lever, there's virtually maybe just a tiny, see that little slop? That's what we're after right there, just a tiny bit of slop, and that'll allow everything to kind of release. So okay, now we're gonna put the stackables on and the end caps on the... Okay, so in your kit you're gonna get 2 stackables and 1 end cap for each side, and then the according hardware. So if you use just the end cap, you're just going to use the shortest bolt, and then end cap in 1 stackable is the middle bolt, and all 3 is the longest bolt. Okay, so just like all our other center stands, you'll have to set it up. You'll have to lower your bike deploy your stand, see how much gap you got, you know, maybe put those next to it. See if that's what you're going to need. On this bike, I'm just going to do the end cap. And so when the bike or the stand is deployed, the fat side goes to the back of the bike. So when you put it on, the fat side is on the bottom, and then we are going to run that bolt up in there. Oops. Sorry about that. I'm kind of doing this with my phone in my hand and trying to do everything at once here. So we're going to run that up, and then you know, you're going to check that. You're going to deploy the stand, let the bike down, see how it fits, see if it wobbles or not. If it doesn't wobble with one, then you're done. But if it does wobble, you're going to want to add a stackable in there and get that right. So when the stand comes up, when the bike comes up, the stand will slowly go up by itself. So there it is. That's our stand. It's all manually driven with cables, and it's available now.